She had not worn a uniform in 4 years. Her hand still knew how to carry 3 plates at once without dropping a single one. She knew how to smile when she was tired. She knew how to be invisible in a room full of people. Nobody who sat at her tables at May's Diner in Lubbock, Texas ever looked at her twice. She was just the waitress. The quiet one with the steady hands and the tired eyes. Her name was Sarah Cole. And that was all anyone needed to know. It was a Tuesday morning in February. Cold and gray outside. Sarah had finished her early shift at 6 in the morning, taken a bus to the airport, and was now sitting in seat 17A on a flight from Dallas to Denver. She was wearing a plain gray sweater and old dark jeans. Her hair was pulled back in a simple bun. She had a small bag on her lap that held a water bottle and a granola bar she had packed the night before. She looked exactly like what the world believed she was. A tired, ordinary woman going somewhere quiet. The man next to her in seat 17B was wearing a crisp white shirt and a suit jacket that looked like it cost more than her monthly rent. He had a laptop open before the plane even finished boarding. He did not look at her. He did not say hello. Sarah was used to it. The world sorts people very quickly by how they look. She had stopped trying to explain what was underneath. The flight attendant, a young woman named Claire, came down the aisle before takeoff with a warm smile. When she reached Sarah, she paused. "You look familiar," she said. Sarah shook her head gently. "I just have one of those faces," she said. Sarah looked out the small oval window as the plane rolled toward the runway and watched the gray Texas ground fall away beneath her. For the first 40 minutes, everything was normal. The man in 17B typed on his laptop. A child 3 rows back laughed at something on a tablet. The engines hummed steadily. Sarah had almost fallen asleep when she felt it. It was not a sound. It was not a visible thing. It was a feeling. A very small, very wrong vibration that moved through the body of the aircraft the way a crack moves through ice before anyone sees it. Almost nothing. Almost invisible. But Sarah felt it immediately and her eyes opened wide. She sat up straight. She kept her face calm. That was the first thing she had ever been trained to do, and it was the thing that had never left her. Keep your face calm. Keep your voice flat. Panic is a fire. Do not light it. She turned her head slowly and looked out the window at the left engine mounted beneath the wing. She watched it for 5 full seconds. And then she saw what she was afraid she would see. A faint shimmer behind the engine. A color that did not belong. Her stomach dropped slowly and quietly. Sarah pressed the call button above her seat. Claire arrived quickly. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Sarah looked at her steadily and spoke in a low, clear voice. "I need you to go to the cockpit right now and tell the captain that the left engine has an oil pressure problem. Tell him to check his gauges. Do not make an announcement. Just go." Claire stared at her sweater, her granola bar, her plain tired face. "Ma'am, I am sure the pilots are all ready, go now," Sarah said. Her voice did not rise. It did not shake. It simply landed. And something in the way it landed made Claire turn around and walk quickly toward the front of the plane. In the cockpit, Captain James Rao was a careful and experienced pilot with 22 years of flying behind him. His co-pilot, First Officer Danny Park, was younger but sharp. When Claire passed the message through the door, both men looked at each other and then looked at the instrument panel. Danny went pale. "Left engine oil pressure is dropping," he said quietly. "I thought it was a sensor issue." Captain Rao leaned forward. "It is not a sensor issue," he said. 30 seconds later, the plane shook. It was a hard, sudden jolt that knocked a coffee cup off a tray and sent it skidding into the aisle. The overhead bins rattled. The lights flickered once. The man in 17B grabbed his armrest and said nothing because there were no words for what his face was doing. Captain Rao's voice came over the speakers. He sounded controlled but tight. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a minor mechanical issue. We are in no danger. We will be making a precautionary landing shortly. Please remain calm." Most passengers relaxed when they heard the word minor. Sarah did not relax at all. Because 20 seconds after that announcement, the plane shook again. Harder. 2 oxygen masks dropped from a compartment near the front. A woman in row 12 screamed. And when Sarah looked at the left wing, she could now see a thin line of dark smoke trailing from the back of the engine. This was not minor anymore. She could feel from the way the aircraft was moving, heavier on the left, pulling slightly, that the right engine was being pushed beyond what it should carry. Sarah stood up and walked to the front of the cabin. The secondary radio panel behind the first-class partition, she told Claire. It has a military emergency channel. Switch it on and give me the handset. Claire stared at her. Who are you? Sarah looked her directly in the eyes. I am the person who can land this plane, she said. Please. Right now. Claire went and came back in less than a minute. Her hands were trembling. Sarah's hands were not. Sarah pressed the transmit button and spoke. Her voice was completely different from the voice that took breakfast orders at May's Diner. It was flat and clean and absolutely certain. The voice of someone who had used a radio at 30,000 feet in situations where the wrong word meant death. Any military aircraft on this frequency, this is Falcon. I am a passenger aboard civilian flight DL-447 out of Dallas. We have dual engine failure in progress. Approximately 214 souls aboard. Requesting immediate military coordination and emergency landing guidance. Falcon out. There was silence on the channel for 3 seconds. Then a voice came back. Young. Trained. But not quite steady. Civilian aircraft, this is Hawk 2, United States Air Force. Did you say Falcon? Please confirm your identifier. Confirmed, Sarah said. Falcon. Captain Sarah Cole, retired, United States Air Force. I need your position and I need you to contact your ground command immediately. We are losing altitude. I estimate 10 to 12 minutes before we lose controlled flight. Over. The voice that came back the second time carried something underneath the precision that was almost disbelief. Almost reverence. Copy that, Falcon. Stand by. At Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, Senior Controller Major Angela Tran had 16 years of experience and did not react quickly to things. But when she heard the name Falcon, she sat forward so fast that her coffee cup fell off the edge of her desk. She did not stop to pick it up. She went directly to her scramble panel. All units, this is command. We have a civilian emergency. Identity confirmed as Falcon. Scrambling 2 F-22s immediately. Get me the longest runway within 15 miles of that aircraft right now. Back on the plane, Sarah opened a line to the cockpit. Captain Rao's voice came through, carrying all the years, all the training, and underneath all of that, the very human fear of a man who had run out of options. Pressure is dropping fast, Rao said. I do not know if I have more than 8 minutes. You have enough, Sarah said. Reduce power on the right engine to 55% right now. I know that feels wrong. Do it. You are burning it out by pushing it too hard. 55% and I will walk you the rest of the way in. Rao did not hesitate. The aircraft shuddered once and then felt slightly more stable. Not safe. Not fixed. But steadier. The 2 F-22s arrived 4 minutes later. The passengers near the windows saw them come in close on both sides of the aircraft. A young girl pressed her face against the glass and said quietly, there are fighter jets next to us, Mom. The lead F-22 pilot's call sign was Razor. He had heard the name Falcon twice in his career, once in a training lecture, and once from a veteran pilot who said without any exaggeration that she was the finest aviator he had ever seen. Razor, this is Falcon. Give me visuals. Left engine first. Razor moved close to the left wing. Left engine is out, he said. No rotation. Carbon scoring across the nacelle. Oil trailing along the wing surface. Right engine. Running but stressed. Cowling vibration is visible. Fuel surfaces are clean. No leak. Good, Sarah said. That is the one thing we needed. She went back to Rao. Captain, your wings are clean. No fire risk. Turn to heading 265, descent at 700 feet per minute. There is a military airfield 11 miles out. 10,000-foot runway. You have more than enough room. 265. 700. Understood, Rao said. For the next 6 minutes Sarah did not stop talking. She was the connection between the cockpit and the F-22s and all 214 people whose lives sat in the balance of every word she said. She gave Rao his airspeed, his descent corrections, told him when he was drifting and when to hold steady. At 1 mile out she told him he was aligned, gear down and locked, and that he was going to make this runway. Trust your hands, she said. Land the plane. The wheels hit the runway hard. The aircraft bounced once and came down with a force that threw every passenger forward against their belts. Bags dropped. Someone yelled. The brakes engaged with a sound like the world tearing. But the aircraft stayed straight on the runway. And it slowed. And it slowed. And it stopped. Inside the cabin there was 1 full second of complete silence. Then the man in 17B started clapping. 1 person. Then 3. Then 10. Then all 214 people on that plane were applauding and some of them were crying and Claire was standing in the middle of the aisle with both hands over her mouth and tears running freely down her face. Sarah walked off the plane last. She stood at the bottom of the stairs on the cold Colorado airfield with her small bag in her hand. Razor crossed the tarmac toward her. He had shaken the hand of a 4-star general. He had never felt what he felt in that moment. He stopped in front of her, came to full attention, and saluted. "It is an honor, ma'am," he said. His voice was not entirely steady. Sarah returned the salute. "You flew well today," she said. "So did you, ma'am," he replied. "So did you." The story was everywhere by that evening. Someone on the plane had recorded audio from the moment Sarah first took the handset. The recording of her voice, flat, calm, certain, was being shared across every platform. "This is Falcon." Those 3 words and the 3 seconds of silence that followed before the young Air Force pilot responded in a voice that was almost shaking. Major Angela Tran was asked by a reporter what went through her mind when she heard the name. She thought for a moment. Then she said, "The moment I heard that name, I knew everyone on that plane was going to be okay." The man from 17B found Sarah before the news cameras did. His name was Thomas Harwell and he was on the board of 2 major aviation companies. He looked smaller on the tarmac than he had looked on the plane. More human. His polished shoes were scuffed and dirty. "I did not say hello to you on the plane," he said. "I am sorry for that." Sarah shook his hand. "It does not matter," she said. He looked at her for a long moment. "We are building a new division for emergency response training for commercial crews," he said. "We need someone to lead it. Someone who does not just know the theory." Sarah looked past him at the 2 F-22s parked on the airfield and thought about 4 years of carrying plates and being nobody in particular. She understood now that it had not been healing. It had been hiding. And there is a difference. "I will take it," she said. 6 weeks later she gave notice at May's Diner. She moved to Denver and spent her days redesigning the way commercial flight crews trained for emergencies. She taught pilots and flight attendants how to communicate under pressure, what to listen for in a struggling engine, and that staying calm is not a feeling you wait for. It is a decision you make every single second until the wheels are on the ground. She was very good at this work. Not because she had read it in a book, but because she had lived it on a cold Tuesday morning when a woman in a gray sweater picked up a radio handset and said a name the world would not forget. Names like that do not stay buried. Skills like that do not disappear. And the people who carry them do not stay hidden forever. Not when the engines fail. Not when 214 people need one voice that does not waver. The world needed Falcon. And Falcon was in seat 17A.